is our NBC News point person on all things involving the border, Julia Ainsley. So, Julia, we're waiting for this court ruling. We may get it. We assume we're going to get it before 5 p.m. today. It may happen while you and I are talking. Is this one of those cases where the Biden administration is publicly saying one thing but hoping the court rules another way?
Yeah, that's definitely what I hear from immigration advocates and attorneys who first sued to lift Title 42. This is not something that the Biden administration gave up easily. In fact, they did fight to try to win this case, although they say that what they were really fighting for was just the CDC's authority in the future. But if they had dropped this earlier, we could have seen Title 42 lift earlier. And we know that they're scrambling behind the scenes, Chuck. As we've reported here at NBC, they have been talking about new ways to restrict asylum even after Title 42 lifts, so that they don't just have an opening of the floodgates at the border. Although we should point out what this would mean when you end Title 42 is a return to the status quo. Essentially, the border would look like how it did in 2019. But they are worried about what could happen when they lift this. They worried this could be a magnet for more people to make this journey. And although the numbers have been so high in the past year, most of those people haven't been allowed to stay. So now they'll be taking them in, giving them shelter, and seeing them through the court process, which could take years. So a lot of scrambling behind the scenes. And it could be that the Biden administration today might want these Republican states to win. In fact, there was even a case where they thought they might appeal this decision and try to keep it in place. And in the end, they did agree that they could lift it on December 21st, but they may be hoping that the court today actually grants a long stay for these Republican states and keeps Title 42 in place a little longer. But you have to imagine the clock is going to eventually run out. And some people I've spoken to said, look, now might be the perfect time. You've made it past the midterms. You're not quite into 2024 yet. This might be the time to do it.
Yeah, I don't understand that, actually, but considering that there really is this hose of the cake. But let me ask you this, Julia. Is there anything preventing, we're in the lame duck period of Congress, which means all sorts of stuff can get attached to must-pass bills. Is there any reason why, I mean, instead of sitting here and playing games in the courts, if the administration and a whole bunch of mayors and governors need to buy more time here, any reason why Congress can't just extend Title 42 for 6 months on their own?
Well, you know, Chuck, as well as I do, how hard it is to get anything done on immigration through our Congress. Right now, there is a big debate about what to do about DACA recipients, those immigrants who are brought to the U.S. by their parents when they were children. That's so hard to do because Republicans don't want to touch that. A lot of Republicans don't want to touch that until they say that there's a more secure border. So if they touch Title 42 and even give it an end date or try to extend it, you could have people in both parties saying that that doesn't go far enough in the direction they want. There's just so much daylight now between these two sides when it comes to anything on the border that the courts are the ones left in charge.
Julia, what's really frustrating here is it's not clear to me what the Biden's plan is to handle the surge. It's not clear to me what McCarthy's idea is to deal with the surge. It's not clear to me what Greg Abbott thinks we can do. I mean, there's a lot of people that want to stop this surge, but nobody is offering up a plan to deal with it, which makes everybody just say, hey, let's just have this temporary, let's keep the hose kinked, essentially. We know if we keep the hose kinked, there's no water that will come out at the end, but they're not actually trying to deal with the spigot.
Yeah, that's a great analogy there, Chuck. But I think that, what they're looking at here are a variety of options. They haven't committed to one yet, and the clock is ticking. If it could be, depending on this court order, we could be looking at Wednesday for lifting Title 42. But one of the ways that they're thinking about doing this is making it so that if a migrant passes through another country on their way to the U.S. and does not first seek asylum there, they'd be ineligible to claim asylum at the U.S. border. And by and large, that's the majority of the people that they're seeing at the border. It's people coming to claim asylum.
Right.
And so this is actually taking a page from Stephen Miller's book. So it's interesting to see how we've come full circle, this administration now looking at things that were on the far right under Trump. But I will say they also want to open more pathways, although there are fewer pathways for people to apply for asylum legally in their countries. That would be through a humanitarian parole program similar to what they've opened up for Ukrainians and Venezuelans.
Julia, correct me if I'm wrong, though. Isn't Canada's asylum policy essentially, you have to apply for asylum in the United States before you get to apply for asylum in Canada?
Canada, funny you should mention, I actually just woke up in Toronto this morning. I've been doing a story on Canadian immigration policy, which you'll see at another time. But it's interesting. Canada, thank you. Canada is actually much more open when it comes to refugees and immigrants, but they don't have the southern border issue. So right now they've just passed laws to welcome in 500,000 immigrants and economic refugees and economic immigrants each year for the next 3 years. They need 500,000 per year. But look, just in May at our southern border, we saw 240,000 migrants cross. So they're in a really different situation. But yes, they do look to the U.S. as a support in their asylum system. But it's actually much easier, for example, for Afghans to end up sometimes in Canada. The vetting system is different, and it's easier for them to get jobs there.
No, on the refugee front, I knew that. On the asylum, this whole idea of the country you're in first, you need to seek before you go to the next one. Anyway, obviously the big problem here on that front might be Mexico, but we got a lot. That's where this gets very complicated. Anyway, Julia, I'm going to let you go, and I look forward to your Canada report.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.